Design, production and materials dance intertwined.
It's a new approach for marketeers. It's a new approach for us to understand.
Why is this little astronaut so happy?
We are the storytellers.
That's where we come in.
You're getting the hang of it. I'm going to share a little bit of my admiration and appreciation for something that has not been gone, but maybe overrun by the innovations the world is facing today. But luckily we see an undercurrent, something that's coming boiling up among all the wild innovations. Looking back in the Industrial Revolution, say 1 and 2, we can say that it's driven based on, well, machines, production speed, keeping it going, to sell. Today, it's more about technology and information, big data, so we can save information and learn from that, so we can develop innovations. Let's say 3D printing. Are we talking about 3D printing ships now? No, not at all. But looking at 3D printing, patented in '81 already, it's not that new. So where are we heading? Maybe manipulation of food or our own DNA is where we're heading. So looking a bit to where we're heading in the future, we see an industry more based on electricity, like Thijs already told maybe, on big data, biologics, physics, and perhaps artificial intelligence. But this is, for most people, still spooky. What we see is an undercurrent, something away from all the innovation and technology, something more traditional. It's more close to what we are today and what we have learned in the past and what we admire and appreciate. So what's the point? It's about an economy that's more about buying, or becomes more being than buying. It's a new approach for marketeers. It's a new approach for us to understand. And where it comes from is perhaps even more interesting. This is an example. So physical becomes intangible, meaning it's less about possession, but it's more about being. Where we're heading is not as much about what we have, what we experience, with family, with friends, or what we can touch in a product. And I believe that's very interesting, especially if we think about nature, how we treat it. We learn today to respect the world, the environment, and the place we live in. People get aware more about how we deal with fossil fuel, what we leave behind, but also how we experience nature. We can travel, so we can see more. It's about what we eat and how we eat. So this is a nice example of the same carrot. But what would you buy? How would you pack it? What will you do with the packaging? How much do you cut away? Do you throw away? I think restaurants in the world now tend to make us aware more about food as well. It's about cultures. As said, we're able to travel faster, safer, to wilder places. So we get to learn and understand other cultures, people, their habits, their food, their clothing, their production methods. And it's about what we make. So the way we make it, the way it looks, and also the way you experience the making. And we always say if you have a shipyard, invite the client. But it's the same with other products, like your suit, or your purse, your shoes. This is an example of something like that. It's a glass-blown object. But in the hands of the right master or craftsman, it becomes an art piece more than just a glass. So, with that in mind, we add value, and so maybe the product becomes more durable. Same here. This is an example of marquetry, which has been invented in 1500 probably. A long time ago, but today we're able to CNC the shapes. The hand of the master puts it together. The designer can make the pattern. So there's already a hybrid here of a machine and man that makes something valuable, something that is a desirable good. Like, for example, fabrics. The old milling factories in Italy are able still to run and to produce fabulous fabrics, even in 3D shapes, different colors. So with a designer or an artist, a new design comes up. With the old production method, the two together become a new possessed good. So what's happening and what's the perspective then? I think looking from the fact that things become more intangible, that we were used to look far away and to our investments and how they grow and how the economy should run. But there's a trend going on that people are now looking closer to who they are and what they want to achieve themselves and experience with family. So where I'm going is a hybrid production method, I think, will be the future. You see here designers that came up with a, I think, interesting shape. Something can be nice, shown there only in 2D, but in the hand of a master, an old wood craftsman, it became an interesting object. Same with, for example, this Japanese lacquer. It's a traditional lacquer, but in the hand of a designer, or an artist in this case, together, at this bike frame becomes something, a luxury good, something you might like it or hate it, but it's a desirable good. So if we combine old techniques, production methods, and new ideas, I think the winning team is the group that makes a hybrid solution for that. And that's, I think, where we're all heading, to become more aware of valuable goods that are durable and in that way last longer than we're used to with the mass production. Thank you for listening.